tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is actor James Reynolds and director Bill Fishman. Actor James Reynolds was born and raised in a small farming community of Oskaloosa, Kansas. After high school, he did some time in the Marine Corps, and when he returned to the States, right back to Kansas, and he went to Washburn University in Topeka. James majored in pre-law and journalism. You were a reporter for a while in the Marine Corps. Why journalism and why pre-law? Let's get those out of the way.
Well, that's what I always wanted to do. From the time I was very young, I wanted to write, and that was really my ambition, was to become a writer. And I had a recruiter that basically lied to me and said I could become a writer in the Marine Corps, but as circumstances, as circumstances turned out, I did. And it was something that I really enjoyed, and my thinking was to become a political columnist.
Oh, I see. So that was pre-law, that through itself.
Pre-law, yeah.
I see. Then how did acting come about?
Well, it doesn't seem to be a straight line, does it?
No, it isn't.
No, I know. You know, I went to college. I had just got out of the Marine Corps. I had been in town for a little bit, and first day of school, sitting there with a very good friend of mine still to this day, and we were talking about where to meet girls in town. Yeah,
this is in Kansas?
This is in Kansas.
Small town.
Well, this is a bigger town.
Oh, this is Topeka now?
I was brand new. This is Topeka. And I was brand new, so I needed this information. It was very crucial to me. And he suggested the theater department. That's the place to go.
Is that how you got there?
That's how I got there. That's exactly how I got there.
But you know, the great thing is, you went to San Francisco as an actor, and you also wrote while you were there.
Yeah. Well, I've been able to
go back and forth, I guess.
Yeah, well, the great thing was early on as an actor, I was able, writing was my straight job. That was the thing I did to make a living, and while I was acting, and it turned out to be very good for me. For a while, I was an arts critic for several newspapers, edited a magazine, and did a number of other things when the acting jobs weren't there.
Well, you were aching to go on the stage, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I fell in love with it. I went over and auditioned for a play, and I fell in love with it.
And then you went to Colorado.
I went to Colorado. Was one of my stops. Actually, I made several. But
I know this is,
which
is funny because each place you go, you act and you write.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was wondering, how does he get a job? Because when you got to Colorado, you got a job with the local newspaper, didn't you?
I walked in. In fact, I walked in the office. Every writing job that I've gotten, I literally walked in the office. And I said, look, you need this or you need that. And I've read, and that's how I got the job.
So in Colorado, you were doing TV commercials. You got your first film with Charlie Bronson.
Charles Bronson, Mr. Majestic was my first film. That was in Colorado. I was working with a theater company in Colorado.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, a theater company there. I was also writing as a columnist for the Colorado Springs Sun at the same time, and I did my first national commercial there. And it was, becoming that time where I had to make a decision.
Did you have an agent?
Yeah, I eventually got. In fact, it was a brand new agent. I had not had an agent prior to that because I had moved from company to company.
Right, that's what I was wondering. You were doing it all on your own, though. Did you get the movie on your own, too?
Yeah. By that time, I had a little bit of a reputation, in theater circles around the country.
Oh, so that made a difference.
That made a little bit of a difference, yeah.
Well, that acting bug caught because you ended up 22 years on Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a very fortunate. I mean, for me, it's been a great career, and I came out here and immediately got into two nighttime series, one right after the other. And when those went away, Days of Our Lives came to me, and a job which I thought was going to last 6 months. And I was on that show for about 10 years, left it, went to another soap on NBC called Generations. Right.
Yes, Pat Crowley was on it.
Absolutely.
And who else was?
Pat Crowley, Debbie Morgan, Christoph St. John, Joan Pringle.
It was very well received, wasn't it?
Wonderfully received. It was a great show. Really, at that point, the only predominantly African American drama that had ever been on television.
So that was, it showed a mix. I mean, it showed like real life.
Yeah, and it was great. And I was at that point the patriarch of I was an ice cream magnate. Yeah, it was wonderful. And so it was a great show, very involving, fantastic people. Loved every single moment of that.
And then you went back to Days.
Then I went back. That show was canceled, and Days of Our Lives called me and asked if I'd like to come back.
But how could you be on a show? What kind of character do they write for you for 22 years?
Well, you know, the great thing, that's the wonderful thing I think about soap operas. That's the fantastic thing. And I think that's one of the things that fans see, is this fact that life is going on in front of them constantly. They grow up with the characters.
So did you get older? Did you get older?
We all do. You know, and the characters go. When my character began on the show, he was a police sergeant. In fact, there were several of us that started that show at the same time in the 1980s, and we're still there. And so he began as a police sergeant. Now he's the commander of the police department. So there's a real progression.
That's you, you mean?
That's me.
That's you. We're talking about him.
I'm the commander, exactly.
Oh, so you took your task. You survived the community.
Exactly.
You got more and more important.
Yeah. And the audience, it's really a part of why the audience tunes in every day. They want to see these characters progress through their lives with a little bit more trauma than they might have, but progress through their lives in that kind of time frame, just as they do. And that's an important part of it. That's a part of the involving aspect of soaps.
You were Emmy nominated for that role?
For Generations and for Days of Our Lives, for both shows. Absolutely.
Well, you love the theater because you were with LA Repertory for 7 years. Did you direct it?
I began at LA Repertory.
Oh, you began it.
And
was it done with money from the city?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was begun with money from me. No, I did it. I started that theater company as an out-of-work actor, collecting unemployment.
Is that
right? With several friends of mine that are still working. Von Armstrong's one of them that people know. And we found an old empty garage in Old Town Pasadena, what is now Old Town Pasadena, which then was just sort of a Skid Row of Pasadena.
I remember that. That was when it was fun.
It was great fun. Salvation Army was next door.
Oh, my favorite.
So whenever we ran out of audience, we didn't have enough audience, we'd go over to Salvation Army and say,
the thrift shops were all along that street.
Thrift shops were right there, which is great to get props from.
I bet you used them all.
Perfect place for a theater, and Barney's, which is still there, restaurant and bar, which is still there today, even in the new Old Town, was perfect. So we had a great location.
And so what I'm trying to put together is when you were an out-of-work actor, because you were on that series for so long.
Well,
in the beginning?
This is the very beginning.
Oh,
This is really when I first came to Los Angeles.
Oh, I see.
You know, I'm a theater actor, and I really felt the need to express that.
Did you write? Do you write?
I have.
I know you.
Yeah, as a journalist, yes,
right.
But I haven't written a play, and I don't know why that is. My son and I have talked about writing a play together, and I suspect we may do that sometime in the future.
Yeah, because I also see that you started that early on, but now you have your own theater again.
Yeah, the Fremont Center Theater that my wife and I have in South Pasadena.
I love South Pasadena.
It's a wonderful city. We love it. We've lived there for
quiet and nice.
It's a fantastic city.
Is it just real friendly?
It's very friendly. It's very much a community. You know, I grew up in a small town, and living in South Pasadena is very similar to that. A lot of community spirit, great people.
And centers, little centers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the location couldn't be better. You know, we're 15 minutes from downtown, but almost 30 minutes from anywhere else, at least when the traffic moves.
What happens then when you've started this theater again?
Yeah.
And I think you started it with 2 one-act comedies.
Well, we started the theater, actually, this is our 6th year in this theater. And so we started several years ago. Our first play was a play about the Blacklist era. And we've been very, very fortunate in that our plays, the audience have loved the plays, the critics have loved the plays. The play, what we have going currently are 2 one-acts.
Oh, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
and that's, one of them is called The Tangled Snarl, and the other is called Murder Me Once, and they're spoofs of the old film noir. And Tangled Snarl, I actually directed originally. The original production of that was at the other theater 20 years ago.
That's what that's where I got the confusion. But have you directed since then?
Yes, I've directed quite a
you
lot.
You have
periodically. Yeah.
One of the things you do, and I know you use your theater for charity work. You have a celebrity basketball game, and you're very active in that community charity-wise.
Well, I feel very strongly about that, and we have an annual basketball game that we have done for the Pasadena Y, for the South Pasadena High School basketball team, and our last year we did it for the Ronald McDonald House in Pasadena. And we've done that every year. We've raised, I believe it's well over $100,000 over those years for all those various groups.
And the T-shirts against domestic abuse?
Yeah, we have a line of T-shirts called Big Man shirts, and each one has a slogan.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yes, against domestic abuse. It's something that I feel very, very strongly about as a key social problem in this country.
What did you say, Big Man?
Well, we have several slogans, but one of them is "Big men don't batter, they flatter," or again, "Big men don't swear, they care," and
something and they hug.
Right. Yes.
I forgot what that was.
Yeah, you know, you've challenged me at the moment. Yeah.
But big men hug.
Hug. Yeah, exactly. And it's very important, I think, for a variety of reasons. One, if you look at the statistics, over 80% of the people in prison were victims of child abuse. Very key problem in this society. Another is that certainly all the men I know, and I think most in our society have never engaged in any sort of abuse, but I think it's important that men, as fathers and brothers and husbands, stand up against abuse.
The men have to do it, and the women have to teach their children.
Exactly.
The women have to teach their sons, but they need the help of the father.
That's why we have the shirts, and we hope that mothers and sisters buy these shirts and give them to their husbands and brothers who have acted as protectors to them and not as abusers.
That's a really good point, and that was a great point to leave on, but I have a better point to leave on. The Kansas Historical Society, who has honored or has among their list of names Dwight Eisenhower, Amelia Earhart, also has James Reynolds on their list.
I feel so proud and greatly honored. 2 years ago, they decided to compile a list of the 105 greatest Kansans. And it's an extraordinary list of people, an amazing list, and to be among those people and named in that company is something that is unbelievable.
Well, it was good going back to Kansas, wasn't it?
It's always good to go back to Kansas. Always.
Thank you. Thanks, James.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much to James Reynolds. And don't go away. We'll be back with director Bill Fishman. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with director Bill Fishman, who was born and raised in New York. He was destined to have a film career because Bill has attended so many schools, film schools, such as NYU, San Francisco Art Institute, SUNY at Purchase, UCLA, AFI. What were you doing, gathering information?
I decided, I wanted to go see all of them and see which one I liked the best. No, I really just, I really loved photography and film, but I wasn't really sure of exactly what I was going to do. So I'd stop and I'd work. I'd get a job doing photography or in the film business. Then I decided I wanted to go learn a little more and go back to school, and so I ended up at the American Film Institute as a cinematographer, and then started directing.
Actually, as a cinematographer,
Yeah.
so photography really did play a part
Yeah.
in your background. So at the Art Institute in San Francisco was probably a good place to be.
Exactly. I was doing photography, and
Oh, well, did that help you when you started directing?
I think so. Yeah, I think it always helps to know all of the processes that go, because film is a very collaborative art, and so there's all different technicians and artists that go into making a film, and the more you know about all the different aspects of it, I think the better director you can be, because it's not a mystery.
Were you making short films at any of these places? At AFI, for instance?
At AFI, I directed one short film and shot 3 of them. I shot one film with Christopher Walken and Carol Kane, and then we did one with Sean Penn called
And
The
how
Beaver
did you
Kid.
get those people?
There was a casting office at the school, and a SAG casting office, and we would usually cast SAG actors out of that, but then some of the people we knew, the directors and whatnot, would recommend other actors, and they came in, and I remember Chris Walken came in right after winning that Academy Award for Deer Hunter, and I was shooting him, and I was this kid in school. I was a really young kid in school too, and I'm like, "Can you look over here, Mr. Walken?" And everyone's looking at me, and he goes, "Why?" And I said, "Well, you can look anywhere you want. I don't know." He goes, "No, I just wanted to know, like, why? How do you guys know where you look, and how do you tell me that?" And everybody went, "Phew."
Oh, thank goodness.
But he was great, and and Sean did the film. He was recommended by another director at our school who was an actor. And it was after he'd done Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but it hadn't been out yet. So
so AFI was really important,
Yeah.
and they were able to draw people to come up and give you the experience as a director,
Yeah,
as
exactly.
a student.
Exactly.
At any of these other places, did you work with anybody outstanding that
Oh.
you can remember? I mean, like really famous people?
Well, as I said, mostly, at the AFI was really
Is where it was?
Yeah, really where we got most of that.
Your big break, I guess, I don't know if this was your big break, but it was your big debut in writing and directing, was Tapeheads.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
Well, I had started directing music videos.
Oh, that's right.
And
So you do music videos in between
music videos
films?
and in between
Okay.
films, and this was when I was starting to do music videos, and I met Peter McCarthy and Michael Nesmith, who were doing the film Repo Man, if you know that film, and Alex Cox directed that, and I had written this film called Tapeheads, which was based on my experiences as a music video director. And Michael Nesmith, who was one of the Monkees,
Right.
had a deal with Brandon Tartikoff over at NBC to make movies. And he read my script and said, I want to do this. And we went in and met and cast Johnny Cusack and Tim Robbins and made a movie, back when sort of music videos were starting, all about that, experience. And it was a lot of fun.
But it really was somebody that you knew. Had you ever worked with the Monkees, making videos with them?
I did subsequently.
Oh, after, but not
Because-
before.
Yeah, Michael was an estranged monkey.
Oh,
And then
see.
I got contacted by the record company Rhino Records, who produced my new film, My Dinner with Jimmy, and they'd contacted me to direct a reunion of the Monkees, a music video. So I actually then met the other 3 Monkees.
I see.
And then they got back together, and years later, and then they called me to direct that and an ABC special that they were doing. So I was sort of intrinsically linked to them.
But
for a
even
while.
though you were a cinematographer and a director, you did have some music ties, didn't you?
Yeah, just really the music videos has been my main tie through the music. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work in music videos over the years, so there always seems to be music.
But to begin with, like Tapeheads won a lot of awards, and what I was wondering is, did that make it easier for your next project because of the
Well, it did. It went to Sundance and Toronto and all these places.
So it was winning awards at all these film festivals. It was winning awards, and then you had great actors.
Well, it was like one of the 10 best. Michael Moore said, "Oh, I put this on my 10 best films of the year list to me," and in Boston, it was on the 10 best films of the year, and some critics. But commercially, it didn't do well at all. The distributor was a new distributor, and they couldn't get it. They didn't really get it out, and it didn't really play. So, mostly what they look at in these things is how it does, theatrically.
Oh, so maybe that would help you.
Yeah, so there was a lot of heat, signing agents and things like that, but it wasn't quite so easy to do because, it didn't have a box office smash.
I didn't think about that because Tapeheads is like an underground film, or if you want to say that, but a really known film.
Yeah. Well, we thought it was a pop movie. They said, "Oh, this is going to be a great cult movie," and we were like, "No, it's not cult."
Oh, you don't want that.
No, we want it to be a mass market movie.
But now you like that.
Yeah, sure. Whatever people think.
The other thing you directed then, soon after that, was Car 54.
Right.
Car 54. Where are you?
Exactly.
And I mean, everyone's heard of that too.
Well, that plays on TV all the time.
Oh, that's what
but also
and that was a big cast.
Yeah, it was a big cast. The television show at the time, they approached me to do the film. I had seen the television show when I was a kid, a little bit on reruns, and I thought, wow, what a novel idea to make a movie of an old television show. And in the interim, the company, the Orion Films, went out of business, and
that was Mike Medavoy, wasn't
it?
Yes,
right. And so it kind of got shelved for a couple of years, and then they released it, and then everyone was doing movies of television series.
It was like the first.
It was one of the first, yeah.
But you had Rosie O'Donnell and
Fran Drescher, Jeremy Piven, and Danny Baldwin, and
were they stars then? Danny Baldwin, yeah. You had
Danny
one
was
of the Baldwin boys, and then you worked with Steve in another movie.
John McGinley. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Were those people well known then when you were casting them, or did you take a chance?
Rosie, I was taking a chance on. She had been a VJ on VH1 on the comedy.
So we're back to music again.
Yeah.
A VJ.
Yeah, and David Johansen, who played, was Buster Poindexter on TV,
exactly.
and so music. Yeah, I always put a lot of musicians and stuff. I like to do interesting casting.
But you're not a singer. Do you play music?
No, I mean unless. If someone wants to offer me a record deal.
Do you sing at home?
Yeah, of course.
Do you?
Yeah, sure.
But so then you did another film. I'm working up to My Dinner with Jimmy. Desperate but Not Serious?
Exactly.
And what was that about?
And that was about, well, some people call it like the female swingers because we were doing it around the same time as them. But it's about one night that these two girls, Christine Taylor and Paget Brewster, are looking for. Basically, they lost the invitation to a wedding where Christine is going to meet the man of her dreams that she's trying to find, and so it's kind of one night on the Sunset Strip, and all the stuff that happens. And doesn't happen to get in the way of that. Yeah.
The other thing, you direct, but you also produce. Do you like producing?
Yeah. I mean, it's a thankless job.
But producing, you produced Posse.
Yeah. I was one of the. Yeah. We developed that film and was one of the producers on that.
But if you were a producer, what would you do to you as a director? I mean.
Well,
would you accept everything that you do?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have other directors in the music video company that direct videos for us, and so sometimes I would make different choices than other directors, and but that's part of supporting the director. Yeah, I mean, I try to be proactive in terms of giving him some thoughts or advice if if I have it.
Well, tell me about directing My Dinner with Jimmy.
Okay, My Dinner with Jimmy is a new film that we did about. It's an autobiographical film about Howard Kalin's experiences. Howard Kalin was the lead singer of the band The Turtles. The Turtles. In 1967, they had a hit called Happy Together. And this is an autobiographical film about his experiences on one sort of seminal night when they got flown to London and got snubbed by the Beatles and threw up on Jimi Hendrix.
That was his
yeah.
But he doesn't play himself.
No, Justin Henry plays him. You may remember him as the young boy in Kramer versus Kramer. Yeah. And so he plays him, and basically it's a testament to that magical moment in rock and roll history.
Is it his direct story, so you can use it as a factual? Is it a documentary, but what do you call it?
I guess
acted by.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I guess I wouldn't call it a docudrama or anything.
No.
I mean, it's very accurate. I mean, we spent months and months and months researching everything in the film as much as we could. I mean, we recreated Jimmy's suit exactly.
To the point of costumes and settings and all that.
Yeah, and he was on the set every day saying, "Oh no, Donovan would be like this,"
Howard,
or Brian Jones. Yes, Howard. Yeah,
and
Brian Jones from the Stones would do this, and this is how John Lennon was, or whatever. So it was very accurate, but on the same hand, I think it's really entertaining because almost no one would gets a chance to actually live out and experience like that or will again.
Because the story is so good, and you are taking it to universities and talking about it in film classes, which is great.
There was a rock and film class last night that I did up in UC Santa Barbara. Yeah, Allison Anders.
Who's a great director.
Fantastic director, yeah.
She's wonderful.
And she did Grace in My Heart and Let Me Be Your Love. Yeah. And she's a film festival. She wants to take it to London, and it's never been screened in London.
Oh,
so,
that's so great.
Yeah, so I did her class, and
we're going to follow you. We're going to follow you, Bill.
Great,
everywhere with your Dinner with Jimmy.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll have it out either in the theaters or, on TV or DVD soon. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill Fishman.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, 90017. See ya.